Here's the Micador Seasons collection. You've got autumn, winter, spring, and summer. And I'm going to do a demonstration using the autumn collection. So here's the paper, and one side is going to feel a little bit more textured than the other side. So fill it with your fingers. Sometimes you could see it. And what I'm going to do in this situation is I'm just going to rip the paper because I want like a deckled edge. There you go. Okay, so I have my image sketched here, and I'm going to go ahead and use the larger brush. This is the 4, and I really like the size. It's really good. And for the colors, I'm going to go ahead and start off with this yellow. This is an amber. I just went ahead and put the names of the colors so that I could see what it was. I used a micron pen to do that. And I did it so that I could tell you what the colors are. If I was just painting for myself, I might not do that. Okay, so we're going to start off with this bigger, fatter leaf here, and I'm going to wet my paper. This is the Micador paper, and this is the first time I've been using this paper. It's a thinner paper than what I'm normally used to, and it absorbs the water, I'm noticing, more than usual. It kind of reminds me of like an Arches. So this must have like a high cotton content. But as I wet the paper, I'm not wetting the entire area. What I mean by that is I'm actually leaving some areas dry, like I'm putting some gaps in. And the reason why I like to do that is because I like to have some visual interest. If I did it solidly, it would look more like a coloring book style, so I like to leave some gaps. And that's just a personal preference. So how I activate the watercolor, I just put some water on there and I swish my brush around, and then I'm just going to drop in the watercolor, and right away you're going to see how bright the paints are. These are because they're dye-based paints, different than pigment kinds of paints like Winsor Newton and Daniel Smith. It's opposite of what those paints are like, because right out of the gate you have a very deep, vibrant color, and if you were using a traditional pan paint, you would have to get lots of layers to achieve this bright color. So if I wanted a more muted color, then what I would do is I would add more water to it. And that's what I'm going to do here so you can see. So as I lessen the pigment, you'll see that I can get lighter and lighter shades by just putting water down. And that's what I like to do. I like to have different color strengths. They call that tonal value. And I just think it makes a more interesting picture. That way it's not flat. When you just use the same color value throughout the picture, it's going to look more flat. All right, so there we go. And so the next color that I'm going to use is this beautiful green color. You can see in my swatch there. This is called moss green. It's such a pretty green. And I'm going to drop that in, and you're going to see how that color just kind of gets activated and spreads. And that's what we love about watercolor, because it's like magic. And we're not always sure what we're going to get, but it's pretty cool. Love this green, so vivid. So I'm dropping this color in and just playing with it and having a good time. Then there's this darker color here, and this is sage. And I'm just going to put the sage in little spots. Usually along the line or main vein stem, it's darker. And I'm not going to draw in my stem quite yet, but I'm just going to create the illusion of that it's there. So this is going to kind of be like my shadow. And you know, for this kind of thing, this is a great beginner type of painting because there's really not a lot of strict rules. You just play and have fun. I mean, if you look at nature, there's not a set pattern per se on these fall leaves, and that's what makes it fun. So no right or wrong. And then I'm gonna also use the golden ochre. This is a gorgeous color. So I'm going to drop that in, and that's going to have like a bit of gold to it, yellow gold. And just drop that in wherever. And I just love this mottled look. It's so cool, right? And just put it wherever. And when you do this when the paint is wet, it just kind of bleeds and blends. And I love that. Okay, so you do that until you're satisfied, and then we can move on to the next one. I'm going to, again, do a base layer with amber, and what I'm going to do again is wet it. And I'm going to speed this up.
Okay.
And now I'm going to use this beautiful red. Oh my goodness, this red is so nice. It is hard to find a red this good. It's not, usually they're not like a true red. This one is a true red. Now I'm mixing it with the amber, so we're getting this bright orange color, which is another hard color to achieve. So for the red and the orange and the moss green, oh my goodness. Seriously, these colors are so good. I'm going to do a later video to demonstrate the differences between the pan paints and this Micador paint. And what's great about the Micador paint is it's portable. Because you can buy dye-based paint in liquid form, but it takes up a lot of space. You could spill it, and it's not very portable. Check this out. Is this gorgeous or what? Okay, so on this edge, I want it really bright. So I'm creating a sharp point and just using the paint straight away. I'm not going to dilute it, and I'm going to do the same thing here, just so we can see some of the red on its own. And I'm not even really using a reference photo for this one. I'm just using my imagination and really just letting the paint kind of dictate the details here. And that's what's fun. You don't, sometimes when you use a reference photo, you get caught up in the details and trying to make the painting look too much like the reference photo, and this way this is more relaxing. So look at this gorgeous result here. Beautiful. Okay, so we want this to dry. Next up, I'm going to use this round one, and I'm going to show you how to do the main vein, and we'll do the veining. And this brush can go pretty wide, or it can also go pretty thin. Just depends on, you know, how much you flex the bristles. For me, I kind of like to put my pinky finger rested on the table or paper and barely touch the paper. That's how I can get really thin lines. But you'll test it out on paper first. And so as a good warm-up, I'm going to go ahead and do this bottom stem. You got to get a little wet so that the paint will stick to the paper. And I'm leaving gaps even in the stem because, again, for visual interest. And then what I'm going to do is, maybe I'll start from the top. And just stick that line in there. And the bottom one area is going to be a little thicker than the top. Okay? That looks good. Now what I like to do is mix my colors. And one favorite way is using a ceramic dish. You can use a tile even. Like, I think Home Depot sells tiles for like, I don't know, under 20 cents. Some ridiculous amount of money. And I'm gonna also get the sage. And I'm gonna blend these two colors together. And beautiful color. It's like a dark bluish brown. I'm just going to fill that in different areas. And now I'm going to do the veining, and I'm going to speed this up, but I'm basically just going to go through, again, letting the picture dictate where to put the placement of the veins. There's, you know, really no rhyme or reason to it. So just go for it. Okay guys, I'm pretty much done. Here's the finished piece. Oh, I really liked how it turned out. The colors are really bright, and I just love some of the bleeding that has happened here. It's just so cool. I mean, this is why I love watercolor. Now, if you want, you can go after this dries and erase some of the pencil. Sometimes I like to leave the pencil in because it shows that it's more of an original work of art versus like a printed or manufactured piece, like digital. So I think that lends to the beauty of a hand-created piece. I'm going to go ahead and probably give this away to my friend for her birthday card. I hope she likes it. And speaking of liking, I hope you'll like this video, and please share and feel free to comment and ask questions. I'll go ahead and put the Micador information link to where you can purchase the brushes, the paper, the paint in my Show More section. And it's a great company. They are eco-friendly. They try to use recycled materials as much as possible. So I like that they have a great product. They've been around for a super long time, and they know what they're doing. So big fan of their paints. And I hope you're a big fan of my YouTube channel. Go out, check out more stuff that I have out there. Until next time, remember, life after 40 is good, and so are you, and so is Micador. Take care.